Hey!
Oh.
Good evening.
Hello.
As always, Joey, the first one on my screen.
Hey. I am Joey. I am playing Connor Leon, and I am barely keeping this group from killing each other and other people.
Is that one of your duties now? Because I don't think you're well suited for that.
I am not. But we have a unstable birdie, and somebody's got to take up that job.
Okay. Which leads us to Travis.
I'm playing Theodore Oswald. I am actively trying to get us killed through alternative means. Monsters and the such, you know.
Terry.
Hi, I'm Terry. I play as James. How do I should I put this? Traumatized child, medic, nerd. I think that sums up everything. I'm smart. I remember everything, except for when I don't.
And Brian.
Bry plays Bernadette, who is not doing well. I'll leave it at that. All she can do now is shoot and cook, and she's not taking it well.
Had some traumatic experiences. We spent the entire last session on a very simple meeting with Dr. Sung, in which you all decided that he's a great guy and you're happy to work with him and there's nothing to be suspicious about. So,
yeah, that's totally what we decided.
Of course. He asked you for help in recovering a book that's been stolen from him that he acknowledges is a very dangerous book, but he says as he is a good-natured guy and a doctor, he's one of the few people that it's safe to leave the book in his hands. Other people will do much worse with it than he would.
Yeah, we totally believe that. Absolutely. Definitely.
Listen,
There's no way this can go poorly.
I'll believe him.
I mean,
Full faith.
you gotta trust somebody, right? You don't even trust each other.
Listen, I don't want the book anymore.
It's a good
I
policy.
don't think I ever wanted the book.
Excuse you, I absolutely trust Connor.
Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, none of you knew about the book before it was stolen anyway, so... You didn't have much opportunity to want it. So, it's probably late afternoon. I'm going to assume that the conversation took about as long in the game as it did in real life. Not a whole lot else for you to do today unless you have something you want to do after dinner. Otherwise, we can just begin early the next morning.
Works for me.
Sounds good.
Alright. Then we will move to June 28th, which is a Sunday. Does anybody here go to church?
No, but I will be praying.
Depends which god.
Birdie does go to church, but it's more for like community than for the actual religion.
And
So-
Connor was raised religiously, so he would attend if he has the time, but
I think that Connor probably is Catholic.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So when Father Alvarez is doing Mass on board, I'm assuming you're going to go to that. Bertie, you said you go for community. I don't know if that means your home community or you just always go to church if there is one around.
Mostly for home community, going to church, I feel, would probably be a thing of like, she doesn't know anybody here, but it would give her a sense of connection with her home again. And considering all the trauma she's been through recently, she probably needs that.
Okay. So, I don't know what the practice on ships actually was, but considering that there are still Protestant Catholic wars in the world at this point, I'm going to assume that you can go to whichever service you want to on board.
Well, I'm not going to a service. I'm just gonna go find my own secluded area and just hold on to my my necklace and just pray that way.
Okay. So you are specifically praying to Bast.
Yep.
Okay. Is this an attempt at some sort of actual communication, or are you just showing your devotion?
Nope, just showing my appreciation.
That's good. You're off to a good start then.
I already said that I was gonna go and start doing that. I think James is a man of his word. He's gonna go and do it.
Excellent. No, I like that.
And cats on ships are considered lucky. So.
And I will have Luna with me when I'm doing that.
Okay. I think that Luna doesn't know what worship is, but she will curl up on your lap while you pray.
Cats absolutely understand worship. They believe they need to be worshipped. What are you talking about?
I'll make sure that after I'm done, I will have some kind of, preferably tuna, to give to her.
Okay. Then, after Mass, Father of Alres is going to hear confessions. We already know that Victor intends to go to confession. Does Connor have anything he wants to confess?
Yes, Connor will actually confess part of the truth about the pyramid. That he was invited to a party, he got drunk, got in a fight, and a man has died because of it.
That is interesting. Are you going to confess any? Are you going to confess as though you're confessing a murder, or is this more of an people partied too hard, somebody died as a result?
I am confessing that I was the cause, but it was not an intentional murder.
Okay.
It was more of everybody got into a fight.
And I was the one that accidentally killed the man, kind of thing.
Well, that is murder.
Yeah.
Well, manslaughter.
You'll be still confessing to murder, but
It would be
Also,
actually manslaughter if it was done by bare hands by accident.
Also, what was that symbol that I saw flash on the screen?
Don't worry about it.
That is a here's where things are happening symbol.
Okay.
Like, when I reposition everybody's screen, that symbol shows up. That is not something magic just happened.
Okay, because my screen is entirely black right now.
Okay, that's because you can't see Connor, and he's in a different room than you.
Okay.
You can just slide back over to yourselves if you want.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to refresh. But yeah, I will be basically confessing that I was directly responsible for someone's death, even though it was not my intention to do so.
All right. Father Alvarez is. I don't think there's going to be a confessional booth. I think you're going to be in the room with him. He's taking you into his
Just
cabin.
in his room talking with the man. Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to ask.
Yeah, he
you-
will also admit to his other vices. and tell him how long it's been, which is probably a little bit over 2 years now. He
Okay.
hasn't been into a confession.
I understand. Sometimes life gets difficult. I think we might focus on the big one for right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you know anything about the man? Whether he has family, any survivors?
It was impossible to know many things about the people there at that party.
You're in a foreign land.
Yes. Foreign land, didn't speak the language, and it was we're already out of the country, so there was no way to know if I orphaned someone or done anything horrible.
Do you have other people in your lives who've suffered a loss in whether through accident or misdeed?
Yes.
And how has that affected them?
It was it's a horrible change in their lives. And my actions have removed the man from the world.
What sort of support did the people you know need in order to recover from such a loss?
They need a community.
I think, for the sake of your own soul, you're going to need to pray, of course. But I think you're also going to need to confess not just to me, but you need to learn who it is that died as a result of your actions. You need to find out who they left behind and what those people might need.
I guess I'll try to pray for guidance to discover or remember more of the night so that I can help.
If it was a death at a party, I'm going to assume that authorities were involved at some point. And that while you might not have known, you might not have much information about the man from that evening, but it's probably possible to learn.
I could probably look up town, request a newspaper for the
Yes.
obituaries, something.
It's necessary to face the consequences of your actions.
Yeah.
It's good that you've confessed. It doesn't absolve your soul, but it is the beginning and a demonstration that you want to change.
Yes, sir. Or, yes, Father. A little out of practice.
It's good to practice. I recommend that you do it more regularly, but I do understand that life gets in the way.
No.
These are hard times. I don't know many men who don't have the weight of another's death on their souls. You're not alone in this.
I know. I have others to lean on for support and guidance, but it is weighing on me. Right now I am keeping everyone that is with me, their heads held high, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm struggling, and I'm dealing with this. The idea that I have done something so irredeemable. It's forgivable, in my opinion, to take a life in the line of duty. You can be forgiven for that sort of thing. Your hand was forced. But this... It wasn't a duty or something that I had to do. It was something that I did. And I need to face that.
That is... You're making this easy for me. Because I wanted to lead into something else. I told you that you need to find the people that this man left behind. And you need to find out what they need in order to survive and recover.
Yes, sir. Or father. Fuck.
You're one of the people who was left behind. You're one of the people who's been affected by this man's life. So as you devote yourself to finding the people who miss him, who love him, and helping them, I need you to remember your life is still important. The things you need in order to continue are still important. You're one of the survivors. I need you to take care of yourself as well.
Yes. I'll do so.
And if that is the main thing you want to confess, he's going to pray with you.
Yeah. I 100% lied about the nature of it, but he needed something to help him deal with what he's done.
Yeah, and I mean it was a party. You're avoiding the fact that it might be very difficult to find out who this person was.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, the obituaries. Ooh, that's gonna be a full segment on the newspaper. And I don't remember anything, but I know sure as hell I killed somebody.
So after he prays with you, he's going to allow you to leave, unless you have something else you want to talk about.
No, I won't take up any more of his time.
Okay. I am obviously not a priest. I'm gonna do my best
This
to
is
say what I
not
think they
good.
would say.
This
at those
is not
times.
Catholic advice.
There are a lot of different Catholics, and this is Father Alvarez from South America, who is a Jesuit. So it is not out of the question he might give this sort of advice. But no, it's not normal Catholic advice at all.
Oh no, not at all. The fact that I said that in the line of duty, ending a life is an acceptable thing, I was 100% testing which kind of Catholic I was talking to.
I think that in the aftermath of World War I, you're going to run into a lot more who are permissive about killing people in the line of duty, because otherwise they won't have anybody talking to them.
Yeah.
Victor,
Yeah.
when you enter the room, are you Catholic?
I think religion has lost its favor with me.
That's not what I'm asking. Were you ever Catholic? Like, do you have any idea
possibly
what you're
at one
walking
point.
into? Okay. So what I'm asking is, like, have you ever been to confession before? Do you have any idea what you're doing?
You know what? No. We'll go with no.
Okay. So when you step in, it's going to be immediately obvious to him. You're not going to say the things. He's not going to be able to call the responses. He will say, just for a moment, son, I don't believe that you are Catholic, are you?
No.
So I need to ask, are you here for confession? Do you want to confess your sins? Because I can't perform the full sacrament for you, but I can hear you out, and I can give you advice. Or do you want to talk about something else? Is there something on your mind?
I would like to know your god's policies towards
Everyone's God.
your god. Murder. Oh.
Everybody's in there about murder.
Generally speaking, he's against it.
Generally speaking, there's cases where he supports it.
I would say no, but there have been times in history where his position is less clear.
And what if I believe I found myself on such a path?
I would say that throughout history, almost no one who's believed that has actually been justified.
Father, you haven't seen some of the things that I've seen. The wickedness of men. And just, it can it can whittle away at a person.
Okay. Let's see something here. Go on.
Go ahead.
No, you go
Oh,
on.
okay. I've witnessed men bring monsters into the world. It brings me to question if they're not monsters themselves in human disguises. These animals that wear human faces, they do such terrible things to just people in general. They bring creatures forth from places that would break a man's mind. Would killing them not be a justice if it meant saving humanity's soul?
Okay, I rolled psychology. I'm going to roll psychoanalysis here. He's going to sit back in his chair. He's not going to respond for a while, but he's going to study you while you're speaking. And finally, he'll ask you, what of these monsters in men's flesh, what have you seen them do?
All sorts of things. Conjure monsters. Make people's minds explode within their own body without even laying a finger on them. I wish I was joking. I truly do. That I'm just insane. But I am not. I'm not the only one who's seen these things. I'm not the only one who fights them. Am I justified?
No, you're not. You're not the only one. Tell me, on whose authority are you facing these creatures?
None but my own.
That's a very dangerous path. I've met people who have seen some of the same things that you have before. And without support, without a guiding hand, without someone to watch their actions, they tend to become the same monsters themselves.
And that is one of my concerns.
It should be. You should be very concerned about that. Where do you place your faith when you're facing these things that are beyond your comprehension and beyond your power?
That is a tough question. The only faith that I have left has been placed on myself. I believe that I can do it, that I must. I'm not doing this for some greater good. I'm not doing this for the safety of humanity. I'm doing it for myself and some petty revenge.
Then I fear you're halfway down that path already. Why would you place yourself in these situations? Why would you face these things if not to protect someone you hold dear?
For my inability to protect them. Twice now, I've lost friends to these things. And if I can't stop it, or if no one else will stop it, then I will. If it means to bring a mercy.
I think we may see the world very differently. Do you serve no greater purpose. You just place yourself into dangerous situations repeatedly. That sounds a bit like one of the symptoms of shell shock. Were you in the war?
That I was.
And when you came home from the war, did you find yourself still fighting it?
I did, but not on my own volition.
That's not an uncommon feeling among veterans.
I wish to say that it's followed me in a more literal sense. It has changed between countries and nations to something greater and darker than anything a man's mind can comprehend.
I don't doubt it. That's part of the reason that men develop shell shock. I don't want you to think that you're the first person to experience these sort of things. I don't want you to feel like you're alone. And I don't want you to go into these situations without considering where you've been and understanding how it's affected you already. You've lost people. I think it's still important to consider what they would want for you.
Oof. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I don't know whether you believe in eternal life, but a way that you can keep them alive in your own mind is to continue to behave in a way that you believe would make them proud of you and respect you.
Father, I have a question.
Yes.
Say, for instance, you were set upon by a demon in the flesh. Would you feel compelled to fight it? Banish it back? Would you go about your day and pretend like you've never seen it?
Oh, I certainly wouldn't pretend that I've never seen it. What I would do is consider the path to victory, and whether fighting the demon in that moment is within my strength, or whether it's going to be futile, and I should look for help. Because what I want is not a personal victory. I want for people to be safe.
Tell me, Father. Do you believe in the occult? Do you believe
sure.
that Satan is real?
Yes, I do. I'm aware that that can be out of fashion with some people these days. Some people prefer to think of Satan as a concept. I am personally very convinced that he's real and active in the world.
Would you say, if you had a chance to beat him or destroy him, would you take it?
I am very cognizant of the fact that any sort of victory that I or any man can achieve against Satan is going to be temporary. I can prevent him from accomplishing his goals today. I can prevent him from harming a person. I am not. I have many flaws, and vanity can sometimes be one of them. But I am not so vain that I believe I can destroy Satan.
And if he's had his eyes on you, specifically you, could you return to a normal life? That you've had a conversation with him?
I am afraid that if you're asking someone about a normal life, that's not me. I'm a priest to begin with.
That is fair. I might be reaching a little bit. Would you like to hear some stories?
Yes, I'm willing to hear anything you want to say.
I'm gonna tell him the actual truth about our adventures up to this point. Like I like, even if it takes it like an hour or two, I will explain to him in honest truth of what I've seen and done.
Okay. Are you telling him just like the supernatural stuff, or are you going to tell him about the crimes you committed too?
Oh, I'll tell him about the crimes. I don't feel like I have done something wrong in taking care of those people.
Mm-hmm.
I've already referred to them as monsters.
All right. Yeah, he will. He'll listen to everything you have to say, and at the very end of it, he's going to tell you, "I am happy to pray for you and to give you a blessing, and to assist you in any way that I can. But this, what you've told me, the sorts of things you've experienced, I can't say that you... I don't know that there's somebody better suited to continue pursuing them, but I can't advise that you yourself do it."
Of course.
Wherever you can find help, though, I recommend that you look for it.
You know what? With that, I'll ask about the person who disappeared, and if he's heard or seen anything strange?
You're asking about Chad Peterson, huh?
Yep.
Okay. He'll tell you he didn't have a whole lot of time. Like, he does not know Chad from before this cruise. He hasn't had a whole lot of time to meet him. They both like shook hands and introduced themselves. But apart from that, especially since Chad disappeared the first evening that they were both on the cruise, his father Alvarez joined the cruise the same place you did. All he knows is what he's heard from the fiance and from your friend, the rich man, as he was putting together the memorial service. He hasn't actually looked into the disappearance on his own.
I believe that his disappearance is linked to such dangerous entities.
Do you think it's part of what the conspiracy you're chasing around the globe? Because that feels awfully convenient.
It might not be. There are different beings that they worship.
Yes. Yes, Satan has many names.
That he does. You know what? Can I see if he actually believes me through all of this?
Yeah, you can roll psychology.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll psychology.
Just casually doing damage to everyone around us.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's hard to read him. What you can tell is he's very used to hearing wild stories from people and treating them seriously.
Damn, he's really good at being composed. Let's see.
Yeah. And you'll also find, I think you can notice this despite failing the psychology check. In fact, failing the psychology check makes it more likely. After you leave, you've been in there for a few hours. You've told him absolutely everything about your life. You've told him your history. You told him all of these crimes you've committed, all the stuff you've seen around the globe recently. And as you're leaving, you realize that he never told you a single thing about himself. The entire conversation was focused on you.
Mm-mm.
That feels like a good way to conclude the confession portion of the evening.
I'm not gonna tell anyone that I just like confessed to a bunch of murder.
You were there for 2 hours. We know.
I was about to say, I think.
Plus
James
the
would
look on the poor
probably-
guy's face.
Probably would have been looking for you guys after he got done. Knew you guys were over here. Knew that. Probably was told that Victor was in there, and then kind of just realized that. When was he in there?
How long has he been
He's
in
still
there?
in there?
Birdie taking a 6th shot of whiskey.
Meanwhile, Connor was like, I was in there for like 20 minutes.
I might
That's
go
Birdie's
in there
religion.
after him. And just make
Birdie's
sure that
religion
he's
is
okay.
sleeping.
You're gonna make sure that the pet preaches or the, yeah.
That the father is okay.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
So you knock on the door
Are you
and
okay?
you step inside. He looks up. He's writing something in a book, which he closes as you walk into the room, and he says, yes, can I help you? Are you here for confession?
Now,
Kind of,
remember,
not really.
Terry, comedy
I
comes
kinda-
in threes.
Kind of want to make sure that you're okay. You were with my friend for a while.
You know Victor.
Yeah.
Well, yes, of course. He's an interesting man.
Interesting
would
is
have.
one word to put for him. He does have his moments where he is very helpful, and sometimes where he causes more of a problem than is necessary.
So I need to ask then, are you concerned about me or are you concerned for your friend?
I'm always concerned about him, but more importantly, I'm concerned for you because we're in here with
No.
him for a while.
You've nothing to worry about with me. I am trained to handle confession and to not. I can't claim that I always help people, but I am trying to make my best attempts.
All right.
But if you do have anything you want to talk about, I am always here. At least for the length of the journey.
I might take you up on that right now.
Of course. Pull up a chair.
As I will pull the chair out, sit down, and not in full detail, but kind of just describe how when I was a kid, and kind of talk about a little bit about the Carlisle expedition and how my parents were on it, and that how I've missed them for a very long time. And just managed to find one of them alive. But her mind is not fully there. And I'm trying to help her.
I think I've read about you before. Were you ever in Peru?
Yes, actually. How many years ago was that?
It would have been 6, I think.
Then I will go and say I think that was about
You know what? It was 4. I just looked.
I think that was about 4 years ago. Could have been longer. Could have been shorter. Time
Yeah.
kind of flies a little bit.
So you took after your parents, and you went on some expeditions of your own.
I have. And some were good, some were bad.
Mm-hmm.
I've helped people, and have received help from others.
And I assume the expedition on which you met your mother is one of those expeditions that was both good and bad. Because it sounds like I have to say, first of all, I am ecstatic to learn that she's alive. I had been under the impression that no one had survived the Carlisle expedition. Have
That
you
is-
told anyone?
No, it's only been recent, and I don't want to cause any panic or inform anyone who was part of their disappearance that we know that she's alive.
So this is definitely wrapped up with the adventure that your friend Victor has been on.
Kind of. I'm not fully certain about his entire life and story.
Yes, but if you secreted her out of the country and you're traveling with her, trying to keep her living status a secret, I'm assuming that your reasons have something to do with the global conspiracy.
Kind of.
Yes.
I guess if you put it that way, yeah, it would be a global conspiracy. Some
Uh,
of them are a little weird. I'm
Can
not
I
gonna lie.
can I point something out to Terry?
Yeah.
He mentioned that he was under the assumption that no one from that expedition survived or something, right? That's what the words he used.
yes. That's
How
what
does he
the-
know about
That's what the newspaper said.
Okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that he would say that.
And the history check was to see whether he remembered first the Carlisle expedition, and then because he got the hard success, I assumed that he also read in the newspapers about the expedition you all went on in Peru.
Gotcha.
Because I'm assuming that the young teenage wonderkind taking after his parents going on an archaeological expedition probably was featured in the newspaper.
Oh, most likely. I will
You
I
came
will
to
ask
me
is
not just to talk for yourself, though, didn't you? Do you want me to see if there's anything I can do for your mother?
if you could try, or just anything I could possibly do to try and rebuild the time that we lost.
So
Help
he's
her
going to
in some
spend
way.
some. He's going to spend some time talking to you about your mother, about her condition, what she's been through, so that he can understand what sort of advice he could offer. How honest are you?
I'll give him the victor honesty,
Okay,
only for what she's been through.
that's fine. And he'll tell you. There are people in my line of work who are specifically trained to deal with the sort of investigations that you've been doing, to deal with the horrors that you've seen, who are broken by it and are unable to recover. So I don't want to give you false hope here. I don't want you to think, oh, all she needs is a couple of months at the seaside and she's going to be the loving mother I remember from my childhood again. If she is able to recover to the extent that she can function on her own and not be a danger to herself or others, she is going to be a different person than you remember.
I understand that.
It's also important to remember that none of us are just one person. The version of her who loves you and has maternal feelings for you is still as relevant a person as the one you currently know who needs your help. And is as relevant a person as whoever she's going to turn out to be, if she does recover or if she doesn't. It sounds like she's done things that have hurt you very severely, whether she intended them to or not. I think it's admirable that you've chosen to take her with you regardless, and that you still want to help her recover. But I want you to understand, if the person that she becomes is not someone that you can stand to have in your life, you can still love the mother of your childhood. not a betrayal. Bless you.
I think
Thank you.
hearing that James is gonna start crying a little bit. And probably say I'm sorry, and then say
No, he will.
thank you. I
rub your
needed to
shoulder.
hear that.
Yes, of course. He's going to rub your shoulder, and he's also going to offer you a shot of whiskey. You're not here for confession either. He's just talking to you as a not quite a friend, but you know.
I will look at it, think about it, and I will take it.
Okay.
Does he have one himself, or is it just
He'll-
only the one?
If he will offer it to you, and if you do one, he'll do one.
Okay.
He's
And
not
then,
trying to poison you.
I just want to know if he had one, and I will say thank you. Probably just raise my glass up and just say thank you again,
Mhm.
and then I will go and down it.
Okay. And if you want to continue talking to him after that, he will talk to you as long as you want to. But I think we've covered we probably covered the important part of the scene.
I think we did.
How about Birdie? Do you want to do confession now? Everybody else did.
You know, yeah, she's gonna go in there drunk and stinking of whiskey, especially since she knows that Victor went whole hog on talking about everything.
Oh, fuck. I'm gonna crank my hog.
Okay.
Hi, everybody in the audience. Tonight's the therapy episode.
Hey, if any characters ever needed it.
Right? Man, if this was a therapy episode, I should have really have opened up about cottage shit.
Hey, you can all-
Everybody's just getting
Listen,
progressively
I already knew
worse
what I
and
wanted to
worse.
do.
What's that,
So,
Travis?
I know what kind of conversation mine was gonna be.
Okay.
I had to make this man question his faith and sanity.
I don't even think you shook his faith.
All right, Birdie, when you walk in and you sit down visibly drunk, he's going to say, "You're not Catholic either, are you?"
I'm Baptist, actually. Thank you very much.
Well, that's fine. We can't all be perfect.
I only have 2 skills remaining to me at this point, and one of them's shooting. So I assume Victor told you all of our escapades.
I've heard a great deal from... At this point, I assume it's your entire traveling party?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
It sounds traumatic. It sounds like you're putting yourselves in extremely dangerous situations. I'm not entirely sure why. I think you should examine why.
They keep following us. This was supposed to be a nice vacation. This was supposed to be a quiet cruise, and now we have people going missing.
I see.
I don't want to be involved. I don't want to be involved. But if I don't get involved, somebody else is going to have to deal with this stuff. If I hear somebody screaming down the hallway and I don't go take care of it, then what kind of person does that make me?
I admire your sense of civic responsibility, but I want you to consider the depth of your responsibility. Does it always have to be you who handles the situation, or can you ask for help?
I've never really been able to be the one asking for help. And she is going to absolutely unload on having to take care of her father after the war, having to take care of her family and take charge after the Spanish flu hit, having to be the one who always knows what she's doing, having to constantly put up a front that she is confident and calm, and now on this last leg of the journey, she just had to give up something that is so integral to her being, that was her only real connection left with her grandmother. She had to give that up.
What is that? Was that the... Are you talking about the POW loss?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we're talking about the POW loss. Because she can absolutely feel that. There's no way you can lose that much and not feel it.
Yeah, you are... I'm sure you all feel, like, drained spiritually. Like, you're having a harder time bouncing back from this one. And he is going to... He will listen patiently. He will ask questions to get more details out of you when it feels like you have more to say. And at the end of it, he's going to tell you, I'm afraid that this is a story I've heard many, many times from women of all walks of life. The idea of being required to be responsible and strong, but not necessarily being recognized or respected for it. And the idea that in order to maintain that perception of yourself that you have and that the other people in your life have, you're not able to reach out or communicate to anyone else when you do need help. You've told me you lost your grandmother when you were young, didn't you?
With the flu.
And since then, you've taken care of your father. Currently, you're traveling with 3 or 4 men, I believe, all of whom you feel personally responsible for. Do you have any female companionship in your life?
Back home.
And you have a support network back home?
Everything that I've ever known is back home. This is the furthest I've ever been from it, and I don't intend on leaving again after I get back. If I get back.
I certainly hope that you do get back. And yes, that's where I was going with that, is that you may have built a support network, but you don't currently have access to it. I don't know that I have a solution for you, but I can recommend that you don't think of yourself and you don't allow others to think of you as just a strong figure who doesn't need support of her own. And if you have the opportunity, I'm not one who actually subscribes to the idea of different male energy and female energy. I think that it's mostly a result of how we're socialized. And if you have the opportunity, I'm not one who actually subscribes to the idea of different male energy and female energy. I think that it's mostly a result of how we're socialized. And if you have the opportunity, how we allow ourselves to be, but the end result is much the same. And if you have the opportunity to connect with people, even on your journey, who give you a nurturing feeling and who recognize when you need help and give you support, I recommend that you seek that out. I'm not pretending this is an easy solution to your problems. It's not. I don't think that there is an easy solution.
And all things are easier said than done.
I'm afraid so. It's often easier to open up about this sort of issue, this sort of feeling, to someone you don't really know and will likely never see again. And I consider it a privilege that you allowed me to be a listening ear for you. But I recommend not allowing it to only be someone you don't feel a connection to. If you can find a way to be comfortable opening up to the people who are in your life regularly, it's possible that they'll rise to the occasion. I can't guarantee it, a lot of people don't. But you know them better than I do, and whether they'd be capable of it.
It's difficult feeling like the only thing I was good for has been taken from me. And it's also difficult knowing that one of the only other things that I am good at is something traditionally female. I take pride in it, but not in the way that folks traditionally think about it.
And you're also very, very good at shooting people. Which I can understand is also difficult to take pride in.
It's difficult to take pride in, and also I don't have access to that particular skill set in this venture.
Yes, I don't think I can express sympathy that you're not allowed to shoot people on the cruise ship. But I understand the sense of being limited.
It would make things so much easier, though. Obviously making a joke.
Yes, of course. He's laughing with you. I often feel that way myself, but, you know, the bishop says no. He says it would be really hard to get people to come back next Sunday.
That's fair.
But I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you think that all you're good for is supporting other people, shooting people, and cooking. You've traveled a significant portion of the globe already. You found yourself, I have heard, in some very difficult situations that is I don't believe it's possible to prepare for, and you've come through them not unscathed but alive, and you've had victories and you've had losses, and having any victories at all in the situations you've been in for, I think, is the most anyone could have hoped.
I just wish it didn't cost so much.
Why don't you roll psychology here?
Not very good at psychology,
It's okay.
but
Okay. So
It's been 18, right?
The one person who should have rolled psychology was not the one that rolled psychology.
yep.
listen, it's fine. I'm not like keeping vital secrets away from you here.
Nah, it's all good. I
Uh,
highly doubt James would have been paying attention to that.
How many people had real life role play?
Because compared to everybody else, also, he's just a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I could spend 18.
I've only got 61. I don't trust that.
61?
I'm gonna save it for when I inevitably have issues.
That he is going to tell you, I understand that you're Baptist. That's a church. So when I tell you that I find my community and my support and my comfort in the church that I serve, understand that I'm not looking down on the church that you serve. But it might be worth leaning on that more in your present circumstances than you have been lately. When you're facing what feels like powers beyond human comprehension and beyond your own power, relying on another power, whether it can help you directly in that moment or not, having faith in it can still be a support.
I suppose so. I will try to rely on those around me a bit more. It's hard when one of them is Victor, though, and I hope you understand that.
I can understand how his exuberance for self-destruction might be a particularly trying thing, considering the difficulties you're facing yourself. Absolutely.
Exuberance is certainly one word for it. Thank you for your time, Father.
Of course. I don't know if I provided what you were looking for here, but if you want to speak again at any time, I'm happy to make another go of it.
Sometimes all that's needed is a listening ear.
I often find that myself. That it's less about what the other person tells me in response to my troubles and more about hearing myself describe them that helps me find a solution. I hope it's the same for you here.
Well, that and a few more shots of whiskey. And she walks out.
Yeah, he doesn't offer you one. He thinks you've had enough, but he's not going to say it.
Yeah. James went in there sober. You went in there wasted.
Okay, so you're all properly shriven to the extent that you want to be.
And Birdie does walk out looking more of a wreck than she was before.
Yeah, Connor's
When
gonna...
she already looks like she is at the end of her rope in about 5 seconds from just strangling somebody.
You did put yourself through the ringer there.
I didn't get choked up at all. Nope. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, none of us are exploring anything through our characters that we personally feel. That doesn't happen at all with any of the
No,
characters I
never.
play.
Nope.
Never. I'm really glad I did not cover the survivor's guilt of Connor. Yep. For no reason. Don't worry about it.
So I think it's safe to say we've pretty much spent all of Sunday in mass and then in conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Do you spend time with each other after this, or are you all kind of taking a break from each other?
That would be up to Birdie on my answer.
Victor is going to just go about life as normal. Nothing's changed.
Do you guys shoot some skeet with your new friend?
I think.
Yeah.
I think outside of interacting with Victor, he'll probably be still doing what he's been doing with his mother, being by her side, all that. But he's probably gonna also try and interact more with Connor and Birdie and make sure that they're also okay.
I'm gonna ask
Birdie?
you.
Probably also Theodore.
Cool. Yeah, we haven't seen Theodore for a bit.
Mm-mm.
And Bri, go ahead.
Birdie is going to look at Connor and say, "Can we pretend for a few hours that we're just a normal couple of people walking around on the deck of a ship?"
Connor will just put an arm around her and ask her to, like, a deck chair outside.
James, would you like to go for a walk with us?
I will say I would love that.
Semblance of normalcy.
Perfect.
Some fresh air would be nice.
We can pretend that this is just a normal cruise, that nothing strange has been happening on at all. And that we're just three friends.
I think you will all be glad to know that for once in your goddamn lives, life does leave you alone for a little bit.
I don't like it.
Nothing
like it.
weird happens to you for the rest of the day.
No!
God.
This is my nightmare! Being alone with my thoughts.
Oh god, I slowed down for 5 minutes.
Oh God, there's nothing out there. There's nothing out there. I need to fight something. Does Victor start a bar fight?
I was gonna say while on this walk, I'd still be probably talking to them, but I'd also be kind of just listening and seeing if there's anything different. But if nothing messes with our evening, then
Yeah, if you tell me I want to go to this specific part of the ship and look around this evening, absolutely fine, we can do that. But nothing crawls out of the darkness, nobody mysteriously gets murdered in front of you, nothing like that happens.
We don't hear about somebody else turning into bugs.
Nope.
then yeah, probably just be in a normal walk, normal evening.
Okay. Listen, don't get alarmed by this, but could everybody make a listen roll?
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, listen.
I think Connor's the only one that got the best out of this. And oh my
I'm
god.
rolling 90.
Are you saying, like, Connor got answers without confessing anything himself?
No, Connor got exactly what he wanted. He wanted to get something off of his chest and talk about something that's been bothering him for a while.
Nice. I'm glad.
And get steps. So because yes, this has been something that I wanted Connor to have a problem with for a while, and it has been dictating how he acts in certain situations because of it.
Uh,
'Cause you know me and my character work.
then, Connor, you're going to be the only one who actually hears this. But you hear the sound of a distant church organ. It's like sometime after midnight, and you don't hear it for very long. It just sounds like somebody testing it, maybe tuning it.
Strange.
When you first wake up, it sounds like a foghorn on the ship, but then the tone changes, and you realize, no, that's not what it is. But after you hear a few tones, it fades out and you don't hear it again.
There's not a church on this boat. Like, it's really, really weird for there to be a church organ on a boat.
It would be extremely unusual. It would be certainly featured in the brochures.
Yeah, right? Like, they would talk about it because those things are expensive and take a lot of work to maintain, and you would have heard it before because
The
it's
sea air would
been
probably not be
past
good
Sunday,
for the pipes.
right? Oh my god.
Oh, it would require so much maintenance. Like, they'd
Yeah,
have a couple of staff members on board specifically to maintain that organ.
like, is this something that Connor could mistake as something he is hearing because of his emotional
Delusion.
state?
I mean, I'm not going to tell you how you interpret what you hear. I just tell you what you hear.
I mean, it is a 5. It can't be something that I just think I hear. I got 3. I got a hard success on
You
this.
spend 4 to make it. Well, no, 3 is the highest one, right?
Yeah, you cannot spend luck to make it a critical. So
So I'm just, yeah, I got the best roll besides rolling a flat 1 on this. So I'm going to just say, I'm gonna say that I heard it, and I think it's very weird that like I would have gone to a church instead of visiting a random man trying to enjoy his cruise.
So I mean, there actually are chapels on board, and Father Alvarez
Oh.
did mass in one of them. But
Okay.
you definitely know that there was not a church organ in the chapel where you perform mass.
Okay.
The next day, the ship arrives in India. However, no passengers are allowed to disembark, and no pursers come aboard. Instead, you are quarantined in the harbor, and a few police detectives, obviously British ones, because Britain rules everything right now, are going to come out to investigate the disappearance of Chad Peterson.
I'm going to avoid talking about the church organ with Birdie for now. I don't know if it's something that would set her off, but I'm absolutely going to be like, "Hey, I heard, a large wind instrument, because, it's a church." Saying I heard a church organ on a boat, that's absurd. But I heard a large wind instrument. Much more easy to look for, I think, at least.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk to the guys about it and be
Go ahead.
like, we're giving a break. Just full stop. We're giving Birdie a break. We're talking about this. We're figuring out what it is. And then we'll bring it to Birdie whenever we realize that it's a problem.
Just heard a large wind instrument.
Church, Oregon, but that's impossible. They would have advertised that sort of thing. It's a huge investment.
It also wouldn't be a good idea to have one on a boat, especially one
I
out on sea.
I think they had one on.
And Jean will say, "We're keeping secrets from Birdie now. She will not like."
Yeah, she would not like me telling this now if it was nothing.
I think she will
I'd
not
rather
like no
her.
matter what.
Which is why I'll let her kick my ass later if it's actually something serious. And if it's nothing serious, she'll never know.
She will know.
She always does. This isn't the first time I've hidden something from her. Like, I would say, like, out of character. This is not the first time I've hidden something from her whenever she's stressed out. Like,
Yeah, he definitely does not know her as well as you. He just has his own opinions.
oh yeah. And Connor absolutely knows that if this is something serious, she's going to kick his ass for it later. But stressing her out over something that is not possibly a thing is way worse than her kicking his ass whenever it's something serious, in his opinion.
On the upside, if you come to her saying, "Hey, we figured out this thing is going on, and you guys have already done some of the work," she's more likely to be forgiving because that's less that she has to worry about.
Right. Like that's where I'm coming from with this, being like, hey, let's not tell a party member that something's up.
James is probably just gonna ask, when did you hear this?
Earlier this morning, right? Like,
Yeah, it was like 1 or 2 in the morning.
yeah, one or really early in the morning, like it was being tested, which is strange because you don't try to do that sort of thing so early.
So no one else heard this, but an organ is going to be pretty loud, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I roll occult or Cthulhu mythos on this to see more of the weirder about a instrument playing at sea where no discernible thing is logical about it?
Okay, you can roll occult on that.
Like, as a player, there's a lot of shit that could be.
Damn, I got a call at 63. I never roll it, but
You roll it pretty regularly. It's not every session, but I give it to you when it's appropriate. And what you you wouldn't need to roll this. Sailors talk about hearing music at sea sometimes, but there are no specific stories that seem applicable to this.
Like,
and it's like sailors talk about seeing all sorts of things at sea because they're at sea for a long time and they're going to end up seeing and hearing things.
yeah.
What are you saying, Terry?
I was gonna say for that kind of stuff, it would be more like a siren.
Sirens are one
Mermaid.
possibility, yeah.
But I don't think that would be what we'd be dealing with right now. Not ruling that out could be a separate problem, but I don't think that would be dealing with our disappearances and the fact that roaches came out of a suit that once was a man or had a man in it.
So, shall we leave it here for the week?
Yeah, we queued up some things. We actually talked about our characters' issues to him.
Yeah.
And I have been, and I got the chance to reveal that Connor's not doing good either.
Yeah,
He's looking like he's looking good.
none of us are okay.
Yeah, Connor's got a solid
Thriving.
60 out of 76 going on.
Birdie is apparently doing the best sanity-wise, but it's costing her.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned before that I don't like to think of it as actual sanity. This is more like how well you're dealing with things outside of human experience. And you can have a mental illness and have have full sand, or you can have low sand and no mental illness. They're not directly related.
Yeah. It's your capability of handling the crazy situation that you're in, not
Low
you're handling
sanity
another
and no
person.
mental illness seems like the default. High sanity and mental illness seem the
right.
abnormal thing.
When we started, Connor was like the sanest person, and he was not sane.
Thanks, everybody. I really enjoyed the role playing tonight. I think you all.
Yeah, it was great. I had a fun time with it.
Thanks for role playing as our therapist.
I felt that was more appropriate than a priest bringing down fire and brimstone on you.
Honestly, good priests act as therapists,
Absolutely.
in my opinion. So, of course, this is coming from somebody who's never been to confession and doesn't go to church and was raised in basically every single denomination possible. I'm not joking. One year we went to a Lutheran church, the next it was evangelical, the next it was Catholic.
The next Scientology.
Man, those are
Huh?
some jumps.
Yeah,
They are.
yeah, they were some jumps. But yeah, that was delightful. Thank you very much for running for us as always.
Yes, absolutely. This was an experience.
I think every Call of Cthulhu game should eventually have actual therapy sessions.
I knew that I wanted James to eventually talk to someone about finding his mom and figure out how to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not fully diving into what happened, but just that she, ever since her expedition, ever since her journey, and from when I found her, from then to when I found her, she's changed, and after finding her, she is kind of down to an even worse state than when I found her originally, and what I remember her being at, and trying to go from there and see if I can somehow help her fix anything.
Yeah.
And I think we'll delve into what's going on with your mother. Probably not next session, but probably before too long.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you very much. Do you want to say anything before we go off the air?
Find someone that you trust to actually talk about your problems, because you have more than you think you have.
You have more than you
I
think
am
you
the
have.
problem.
And one of the best feelings in the world is actually having somebody who gives you honest, real advice that isn't just what you want to hear.
Yup.
Real talk.
Yup.
Hey, this is the therapy session, so we're being genuine and honest with this.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.